So Tucker Carlson watched the State of the Union, and he has a very, very bold prediction. This is about 3 or 4 minutes long. Let's watch it. It's pretty wild what he has to say. Let's watch.
And so what this means is that underneath all of the talk is a dire political reality. Joe Biden can't win. In a fair election, Joe Biden will lose in November. He cannot win. That's the thing that nobody in any media wants to say out loud. In a fair election, Joe Biden cannot win. So they're saying the opposite. Here, for example, is the pre-game analysis over at MSNBC, which we watch while waiting for Biden to dodder up to the stage, waiting for the amphetamines to take effect. And keep in mind, as you watch this analysis, these are supposedly the smart kids. These are the smart kids, the ones with complicated glasses. These are the ones the White House looks to for guidance. And here's their analysis of Joe Biden's skills. Watch this.
This seems like a weirdly a counterintuitive hot take, even though it's the most obvious thing you could say, which is that Joe Biden is good at politics.
Yes, he is. Yeah.
Like, Joe Biden is good at politics. He's very good at politics. Like, the man really does know what he's doing, and you really see it in those sort of situations.
Joe Biden is just really good at politics. It's the one thing he's really good at. Really? If Joe Biden is so good at politics, why is he losing to Donald Trump, who the rest of us were assured was a retarded racist, who no normal person would vote for? But now Joe Biden is getting stomped by Donald Trump, but he's also at the same time good at politics? Right. Chris Hayes, ladies and gentlemen, the most famous lesbian in television. So, again, they can't win, but they're not giving up. So what does that tell you? Well, they're going to steal the election. And we know they're going to steal the election because they're now saying so out loud. Here is the Attorney General of the United States, the chief law enforcement officer of this country in Selma, Alabama, just the other day. Listen to this.
The right to vote is still under attack. And that is why the Justice Department is fighting back. That is why one of the first things I did when I came into office was to double the size of the voting section of the Civil Rights Division. That is why we are challenging efforts by states and jurisdictions to implement discriminatory, burdensome, and unnecessary restrictions on access to the ballot, including those related to mail-in voting, the use of drop boxes, and voter ID requirements. That is why we are working to block the adoption of discriminatory redistricting plans that dilute the vote of Black voters and other voters of color.
Did you catch that? Of course, you're a racist. That's always the takeaway. But consider the details of what the Attorney General of the United States just said. Mail-in balloting, drop boxes, voter ID requirements.
That's racist.
The chief law enforcement officer of the United States government is telling you that it's immoral, in fact racist, in fact illegal, to ask people for their IDs when they vote to verify they are who they say they are. What is that? Well, no one ever talks about this, but the justification for it is that somehow people of color, Black people, don't have state-issued IDs. Somehow they're living in a country where you can do virtually nothing without proving your identity with a government-issued ID without government-issued IDs. So they can't fly on planes, they can't have checking accounts, they can't have any interaction with the government, state, local, or federal. They can't stay in hotels. They can't have credit cards. Because someone without a state-issued ID can't do any of those things. But what's so interesting is these same people, very much including the Attorney General and the administration he serves, is working to eliminate cash, to make this a cashless society. Have you been to a stadium event recently? No cash accepted. You have to have a credit card. In order to get a credit card, you need a state-issued ID. And somehow that's not racist, but it is racist to ask people to prove their identity when they choose the next president of the United States.
That's not for Black people, that's for illegal immigrants. That's why they're doing that. That's a great point. I never thought of that when they were saying that. Like, everybody I knew that was Black had a goddamn ID. They did a story, oh, Black people can't get IDs. You can't do shit without an ID.
You can't do anything.
Unless you're an illegal immigrant.
You can't do anything without an ID. You can't get on a plane. Just like he said, you can't rent a hotel room. You can't buy anything at. That's right. You go to.
Look, some
Can't buy
people are
liquor,
that.
can't buy cigarettes.
Yeah, somebody could be that disenfranchised. Certainly, I doubt they're a real voter that shows up to the polls if you're that far outside the system. That whole thing, I never even thought of that, dude. Of course, for black people, it's so illegal.
And so he's saying that the only way Joe Biden's going to win,
of course,
is if they steal the election.
And if there's a civil war over it, that's fine.
And
they're fine with that.
They're fine with that. Who's fine with that? The billionaire class that owns the Democrats and the Republicans.
All those people we just smuggle in will fight it.
That's right. Chaos favors the establishment. And so I thought that was... So he said that in that clip, right? That they're going to steal the election, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what else can they do? They can't outright kill Trump, right? Because that's too vulgar a display of power.
I think they could, and then they would just blame it on somebody else. They blame it on a Palestinian, just like they did RFK.
They could try that, but who would believe it? No one will believe it.
Who believes that? Who believes Oswald killed Kennedy? Who believes
that
it was that? I mean, even
that?
RFK Jr. doesn't believe that Sirhan killed his father. Even he doesn't believe it. He knows better.
But he doesn't believe in.
And so who did
vaccine.
that? So he did that. Framed a Palestinian guy for that. Who do you think? Now, who would do that?
Yeah, I like to see.
What country would want to do that? What secret service from what country would want to do that?
That employs a lot of Cubans with a axe to grind over.
So that's again former #1 newsman until he told too much truth and they fired him. That's the movie. That's the movie that someone should make. They won't make it because it has to get made with bank financing, and they won't do it.
Yeah.
Every movie takes bank financing. So that's the movie that should be made. It won't be made. All those people who did that movie Good Night and Good Luck, which was about McCarthyism, they all went on to do McCarthyism.
Yeah.
They all went on to repeat McCarthyism in the form of Russiagate. And the Ukraine war is another form of McCarthyism because we've now demonized Russia. Russia's the evil. We're the good guys. I love Norm Macdonald had that joke. Hey, I was just it's funny that the good guys have won every war according to every history book I've ever read.
Wait, who said that?
Norm Macdonald.
That's a great fucking.
The good guys what is there to worry about? The good guys always win.
Yeah.
So what does that tell you? That tells you the winners write the history books. And we're not the good guys. Well, we're not the good guys. The last time we were the good guys maybe was World War II.
Well,
that was the last time we were the good guys. We've been on a psychopathic, murderous terroristic terror ever since.
Okay, Jimmy, we were the lesser of two evil guys, for sure. Good guys are a bit strong. And of course, as someone with the mind of a child, I want to say good guys and bad guys. But what happens is when I get all caught up in, hey, that's not a good thing you did, good guys, they go, grow up, it's war.
Yeah.
You got to be an adult. Oh, so now we're back to mafia.
Yes.
Like, look, pick one. Tell me say, hey, look, we're Sopranos. Say that to me. Yeah. Don't give me this fucking shit where I got to clap like a seal.
Don't tell me Putin's a thug and then say, hey, yeah, we got to be thugs.
Hey, we could starve all them kids in Gaza. That's war.
That's war. It's war.
In Dresden. And then I never want to hear about Putin again. Go ahead and murder all them people.
That's right.
Hey, our best friends in the Middle East, you earned it. Kill them all. I don't ever want to hear about anybody else being bad again, though.
Okay. So it is going to be interesting how they get this weekend at Bernie's across the finish line to be president again.
He's a good politician.
He's a good... Joe Biden is such a good politician. He had to drop out the first time he ran for office because he got caught plagiarizing so much. And that was before the internet.
And he became president. That is pretty good.
That was before the internet. He had to drop out.
Good.
And the reason why he's president now isn't because there was a groundswell of support around Joe Biden. It was because the elite got all the other candidates under their thumb, guys like Pete Buttigieg and Elizabeth Warren and anybody who could have put a hurt on him to consolidate their power around Joe Biden. That's why. And who did that? The people who control all the politicians in the country.
Well, you know what I wonder?
Do you not remember when that happened? Do you not remember that happened before Super Tuesday?
Yeah.
That's what happened, and
No
that's
one
how
thought
Joe
he was going to be the guy.
That's
no one thought him.
nobody thought Joe
They
Biden
thought
was going.
Kamala might be the one.
That's why. That's why even The Intercept was allowed to write critical articles about Joe Biden. Everybody, yeah, that's right. The smart people in the room all thought Kamala Harris was going to be the next president.
Jimmy, when they impeached him and they go, he can't investigate whatever the hell they thought he did to investigate Biden. They go, that guy's a potential presidential rival. And at the time, I'm like, no, he isn't.
Nobody
no one
thought
wants Biden. What are you talking about?
Nobody thought Joe Biden. You know
Right,
who
he
did
became
think Joe
president.
Biden was the people who actually pull the strings in this country, which is Wall Street and the military-industrial complex. They first picked Kamala Harris, and then she couldn't get a vote, couldn't get a delegate. So they had to shift to their next most reliable dupe. They went from Kamala Harris to Joe Biden, who's been doing the bidding of Wall Street and the military-industrial complex his entire career. He's a good soldier. He's never once wavered. And that's why they chose Joe Biden. That's how he became, not because he's good at politics.
Well, I think that's
Joe
what politics
Biden's the
is.
biggest whore in politics.
That's politics.
He's the biggest murderer. That's how they judge themselves. Nancy Pelosi will tell you she's a great leader because she raises more money than anybody else. That's considered good at politics.
Yeah.
And Chris Hayes thinks that's what makes you good at politics.
No, it's impressive when you work your power.
Next
That's
thing,
the ultimate evil of America down the line of every level of society is that where you're supposed to respect, I don't hate the player, hate the game. You know, that stupid shit. That's at every level and every area. You're supposed to admire some fucking absolute jerk off because they made a lot of money being a piece of shit.
that's right.
I mean, I don't care if you make money. I don't understand why I'm supposed to admire you like you're anything other than a piece of shit.
And if you feel insulted by the media and your political class, and you'd like to see me make fun of it, I'll see you tomorrow night in Palm Springs.
Hey, I'll be at that show.
Kurt will be at that show.
Last time I saw Palm Springs, Jimmy, I was watching a documentary of actress Cara Delevingne exploring what gender she was at a lesbian festival, and the lesbians really wanted her to leave because she was like seriously whatever cock blocking is to them, wasting their time with their actress nonsense. It's a nice place.
And then we'll see you April 19th at Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, Cortland, New York, and Oakmont, Pennsylvania. We're also going to be in El Paso, Texas, and San Antonio, Texas. So we'll see you there. So anyway, Tucker Carlson, I think if I was right, if I had a newspaper, which I kind of do, I have the news show. The headline I think for this video is going to be Tucker Carlson says they're going to steal the election. That's the only way. That's what he says.
I think it's okay. These people might get mad and want to do that's what. So we got all these military age men to quell that in case it comes to civil war because they're totally thinking about that. They're going to steal it. They know some people will be mad. Then the game is going to be how do we degrade these people that they're clearly the worst and just clean them up real quick. That's where it's going.
Hey, come see us live on tour in Los Angeles, Palm Springs, Stockholm, Amsterdam, Rotterdam, Berlin, Copenhagen, Oslo, Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, Cortland, New York, Oakmont, Pennsylvania, right outside Pittsburgh, El Paso, and San Antonio, Texas. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for all those tickets.